artist, but also a writer and an essayist. He's a model minority and a professional gambler. This is his words, right? And he is also the 3-time international champion of the Deaf Poetry Jam, HBO's Deaf Poetry Jam. So I'm really, really thrilled. So please help me welcome spoken word artist Alvin Lau.
Taken from an Australian newspaper. Detectives are investigating claims that after the 2 men fought over loud music and reckless driving, Mr. Thornton went to Mr. Jorgensen's house with the chainsaw, at which point Mr. Thornton reached for his Japanese sword and the bloody battle began. This poem is called Fuck Yeah! When your hour-long nemesis from the Victoria Boulevard cul-de-sac crashes through your front door, his face a red star of madness, chainsaw smoke billowing behind him like tentacles trailing the octopus of doom, you do what any reasonable person would do. You reach for your katana. Finally, the chance to live out one of history's most pressing hypotheticals, samurai versus lumberjack. Focus. Ignore the weight difference between weapons. Ignore the possible embarrassment of losing to the chainsaw, Donald Trump equivalent of the melee weapons world. Your opponent could vivisect you with a glancing blow, but you show no fear. Your nerves are a monument to ice. Your blood type is Quentin Tarantino. The only instrument in the soundtrack of your mind is a gong as you leap into the air. Your battle cry is IKEA, is cheap Swedish bullshit! It all comes flashing before your eyes. Living room blood feuds, lens crafters, battle royales. You've wanted this ever since you could pair together the words boss and fight. And here he is, demon warlord of West Brisbane, your roaring annihilation held over his head like a hockey trophy. But there is no retreat from destiny, like there is no reasoning with drunk Australians. Do not fear defeat. You will not regret your fallen limbs, merely limp sacks of pulp and pain. You will lay your dismembers upon the altar of greatness and toss the match like an emptied champagne flute. Bon voyage, hands. Au revoir rings yo-yos in reasonable typing speed. Because after all, isn't severance just a more beautiful word for freedom? Where others will see your swollen stump, you will know your unflinching courage. Where others wave at you with their delicate wrists and articulated fingers, you'll wave back with 100% pure fuck yeah! And won't that be worth it? To give up such a small fraction of your body to be so much bigger than yourself. Like, hey, look at me. I'm the guy who shook death's hand and ripped away from his grip at the elbow. Isn't that so much more exciting than being the guy who ran out the back door? If you Google that, that's a true story. That's fucked up. So the actual story is the guy with the chainsaw lost the pinky. The guy with the katana lost the arm. Chainsaw wins. Do your friends all suffer from insufferable whiteness? Do you often feel stranded in the desert of Caucasia? Is your only black friend the guy you used to work at Sport Mart with? Sounds like you need Black in a Flash, the original minority rental agency. Just one call to Black in a Flash and you'll go from hayride to drive-by. Impress your friends, throw Oakland theme parties. Won't you look humanitarian when you tell everyone you saved them from the ghetto? After all, isn't The Help your favorite movie? Need to spice up a dance floor? Try Brooklyn Black. Now, the dark, beating heart of Africa comes lighter than a paper bag, guaranteed to be felony-free. Worried his college education may frighten some of your more sensitive guests? Choose from 10 levels of well-spokenness, from Barack Obama to Old Dirty Bastard. Makes a great photo op. Because remember, once you have a black guy in your house, you have proof that you're not racist. But wait, is black Still much too black? Black in a Flash introduces Asians. Our new model minority model is as unthreatening as a newborn dumpling. Send him to class to take your tests. No one will know. He's crafty with masks. Poke him with a chopstick when you're bored. Give him a violin. He'll play Beethoven for 72 hours on a single spoonful of rice. Ah, love the smell of that legendary work ethic. Need to rescue a struggling basketball franchise? New Jersey, you're already a satisfied customer. But wait. Still not convinced people of color are necessary for your life? Studies show that just one token friend can repel dangerous taxi drivers while simultaneously teaching you how to Douglas. Your friends will never think hip-hop is a type of sack race again. Select a minority for every need. Fill a diversity hire, appear more cultured, exoticize a boy band. Need to terrify your Protestant parents? Upgrade to Jewish or homosexual for low, low prices. So order today. Don't settle for second-rate agencies like Rent-A-Rican, Quick Spick, or Immediate Koreans. Call 1-800-BLACK in a Flash. 1-800-N-word OK. Never throw an all-white party again. Call the next 10 minutes and take 3/5 off the original price. Operators standing by, they only speak English, and always remember, rush delivery to the suburbs. So you want to make the United States English only? As if left unchecked, we immigrants would continue to make your life hell, forcing you to pronounce more articulately when ordering ethnic foods or celebrating our pride parades that make you wish for roots. So you want to force feed us English, cram culture down our throats as if we're uneducated savages, but then you're amazed when we speak fluently like gorillas who learn sign language. Isn't that how you picture us? All war paint and loincloths sprinting up Capitol Hill, chucking spears into the White House lawn, the bones of fallen Caucasians rattling from our necks. Or are we hunting buffalo in the streets of Chicago, maybe wandering the countryside in search of native tongue? Is the thought of our migration to your great country really so scary that you had to go and pass English-only legislation to take away our courtroom translators and due process, language programs and children's educations, bilingual voting ballots, and this basic right to democracy, and yet you say that this is about language, that discrimination is a curse that never hexed your lips, though it sounds like the same mockery that laughed my overqualified mother and her slight English out of every job interview in South Carolina when they would tell her over and over through sawtooth smiles, "I'm sorry. We just don't think you'll ever be right for the job." It is the same sing-song, ching-chong Chinaman taunts they used to hurl on the playground as if I couldn't understand what they were singing. Like English was a secret handshake my fingers couldn't pronounce, and the sign over the clubhouse still read, "No grounds allowed," and yet you say that this is about language, that you're trying to unify our country. Then tell me, what's the difference between English-only fast food stands and whites-only water fountains, burning crosses in alien land acts, McCarthyism, and internment camps? You want the inscription on Ellis Island to be changed from "Bring your poor, your tired, your huddled masses." You want it to bring your opulence, your fluency, your exclusive rights. But last time I checked, the Statue of Liberty never went to America's window front to flip the welcome sign over to foreigners. Go home. How can you even say that we don't belong here? As if all our family trees didn't once take root in foreign soils, as if our country's destiny wasn't to wear this cloak of 1,000 cultures, as if we haven't learned from a people's history written in blood that the only difference between a pilgrim and an immigrant is how many Indians you had to shoot. So go ahead, keep pulling our civil rights from under us like welcome mats. Think we'll go quietly without these mouths blazing. Think that we can't see the fires burning. Hear the cries of nativism upsurging. Polish your 6-shooters. Press your white hoods for another night ride. Prepare your nooses and amendments, Minutemen and INS. Put up as many English-only signs as you can muster. Think that we're not ready for the coming storm, that we barbarians are not prepared to go to war. Keep telling us that English only is exactly what our country needs, like we don't understand hatred, no matter what languages we may speak. This is a poem that I wrote as a proposal on our 3rd anniversary that I never got to read to her because she cheated on me. Wah wah. It's when a love poem becomes the fuck you poem, right? Although, I guess my one reward is that in my dozens of years traveling, tens of years traveling, reading poetry now, that means thousands and thousands of people have heard this poem and she hasn't. Y'all clap for the cancer, but y'all won't clap for this. Poem for our third anniversary. While the potatoes were slowly boiling, I strung ellipses in the driveway and set them to flash intermittently like an airport runway. So when you returned home to our 5th anniversary, it would remind you of the time that we were stuck on a grounded airplane for 6 hours. And as we watched the weather unfold around the airport, you said it looked like angels had traded their halos for snow shovels to brush off their clouds. And that's the moment that I fell in love with you. As I was setting the table, I grabbed 2 of our exclamation points, flipped them upside down, balancing them on their rounded heads. I lit their dots like Roman candles to remind you that the wonder that slips out of your mouth when you read me your poetry fills our house with its slow burn. I took all of our commas and I ringed them into a welcome mat, because we always walk on our pauses and our hesitations and our patient forest fires, and I thought tonight it was about time that we let all those things lie heavy in the rain with the dogs. I took all the apostrophes that we've left dangling in the air, the things that delineate between yours and mine, and I let them fly out the chimney so you could hear their wings beating out the rhythm of the night song over Lakeshore Drive. The colons and the periods, I locked them in the bathroom because that's exactly where they should stay. But the question marks, I herded them into the living room, slipped them under rugs and between couch cushions, hung one over the doorway like mistletoe to set the atmosphere. And then I took the biggest mark from the end of my only question, and I curled it into the ring that I would slip on your finger if you ever returned. I wrote this poem in 2005, and it's the poem that got me banned from Utah State. It's funny, so before I came here, I was like, can I swear? The answer was yes, if you can't tell. But I'm like, can I swear? It's like, oh yeah, because it's college, right? But when I'm performing in Utah, I'm like, can I swear? They're like, no, it's a college. In fact, when I went to Utah State, they're like, so we have a couple of requests, right? No swearing, and can you not do anything that advances the liberal agenda? I was like, have you seen my act? Right? I'm like, everything about me is like anti-white establishment, except for my clothes. Which were all made by Asian people. Cannot avoid that. But so, I'm performing at Utah State, and sometimes the life of a poet is kind of strange. Like, it's wonderful that you guys are all here, and thank you for coming, because if it wasn't for people like you, I would be performing in my shower still, right? Like I did yesterday. And, but like sometimes when I come to these shows, it's like, oh, it's poetry and board game night. And so like, there's about as many people or more, and they're all playing like Yahtzee and Hungry Hungry Hippos. And I'm like, chemotherapy poems, right? Like, this is really awkward. And so I'm at Utah State, right, and like a guy in the second row goes, Yahtzee! And I'm like, oh my God. And I don't want to curse out the guy, he just got 5 5s or something. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm trying to be, you know, personal. So then I read this poem. My sister's wedding was in a garden on a beautiful spring night. And when she walked down that aisle, I swear the moon shined brighter to highlight the moment when she would kiss her new wife. And when they said I do, it's like the air between their eyes caught fire with a passion so intense that it singed the green grass brown. And heaven had to pour down tidal waves of rain to keep the earth from catching on fire. And all 6 bridesmaids ran for shelter. The caterer scrambled to get the wedding cake covered. The priest ducked under an oak tree. But those 2 girls, they just stood there, frozen in a kiss. The locks and keys of their lips perfectly fit. If you were in the garden that day, you would have seen a love so powerful that it forged 2 pillars of light that tore open the night sky and made it cry. You'd have seen 2 angels dressed in white standing perfectly still as the entire heaven collapsed around them, and I only have to close my eyes to remember that look on my sister's face of perfect bliss, not a care in the world, when the only thing that exists was the garden, the moon, and that fire between those 2 girls. My sister and her new wife hold hands in complete silence on the entire plane ride back from Canada, knowing that when they returned home to America that their marriage would not be recognized, as if all the vows they made under the moon and God weren't legitimate, as if the locks and keys of their lips didn't perfectly fit. And my mom always told us that everyone is entitled to their opinion. Like, I can think what I want, and they can think what they want, but that doesn't keep us from being right and them from being fucking wrong, because anyone who doesn't think that my sister can love freely can go straight to hell. And I don't understand why my sister's marriage is even in question. It's not like she's some part of a cult religion marauding the midnight, converting straight women. It's not like the gold wedding band on her finger casts a shadow that swallows the innocent, and if she's going to hell because of who she is, I bet she'll accept it, and her new love will be swimming in the lake of fire, smiling hand in hand without repentance. So what Republican paradise are you trying to get into? The one where St. Dick Cheney's standing at the pearly gates handing out rejections, and even his own lesbian daughter is fucked because of who she loves, and her sins cannot be washed away regardless of confession. My mother also taught us to say, fuck that. I want to be able to wipe away my sister's tears with a copy of the Constitution that doesn't take away her right to say, I do. How I want to be able to read this poem all over the world and not have to worry about homophobic judgment from all of you. How I want my friends and my family and loved ones and absolute strangers to have the same inalienable rights, so not one of them will have to worry about the future of their relationship on their wedding night. I want my sister to look at photographs of that brilliant spring moon and not have to shed a single tear. Instead, her and her wife would fill our house with the echoes of her laughter. Like how I pray that everyone who hears this poem realizes that marriage is about love and nothing else matters. This poem starts with a quote. I'm glad that my parents were rich because they stressed education and family. Tiger Woods. And as we watched you take an 8-stroke lead at the Masters, it was like you were putting across the putting green of every minority in this country. Like suddenly a 300-yard swing was sharp enough of a weapon to slice through the color line, and your 5-iron was our battle axe for the job. When asked about your mixed blood, you said, I'm a golfer and human first. And it was a good answer, a warm answer, and the teething pundits were satisfied, but we now know what you really meant to say was, I'm rich. I don't have to worry about stupid shit like that. Tiger, you could have been a messenger, a boondock saint, a legend beyond a game whose clubhouses still reek the spirit of white colonial expansion and the taming of the wilderness in the name of Western civilization. You could have been a hero to minorities everywhere, back before we learned our dark horse traded in his horseshoes for Nike swooshes and can't run that fast because he's never needed to race. Eldrick Woods, it's ironic that we call you Tiger. As if you have ambitions greater than putting greens, like you are more than a slick-tongued Midas who turns all skin colors to gold but makes big black dick jokes in the backs of slick men's magazines and still think money is the clockwork that runs modern living. You make me so proud that I was raised by struggling immigrant parents who sutured together second-rate pay and graveyard shifts into a household. Proud that my father, who used to beat me with a belt buckle until I had visions of metal-headed snakes, never once hit me for stealing candy bars, but he would whoop the shit out of me for skipping second period chemistry until the bruises across my back spelled out college bound. I'm proud that my mother, even after the battery, the death threats, the divorce, the estrangement, the heartbreak decades, still could make values blossom out of the garden of Chicago's concrete like it was her birthright to make her children grow. What do you say to that, Tiger? Does it stump you that people can come up loved and educated without the potting soil of a pocketbook to spring from? You could have been so much more. More than the sound of your endorsements ringing excitedly over the horizon. More than a pack mule led by moneybags dangling at the end of the string. You could have been a hero to the hardworking, a monument to elbow grease and breaking backs, a prayer of discipline, the miracle of this bubbling over melting pot, proof that dreams and dreamers still find each other in this windstorm. But instead, you are just another false idol athlete with an infinite cardboard stare from the ivory tower of a Wheaties box. You are a rich heritage, whitewashed, a golfer and human, first and last, a sheep in tiger skin. You are proof of how they always want us to forget that the American dream starts with an empty pocket and a need, the passion to turn sweat into steam, and the ability of all our hopeful hearts to be filled with belief. $260 calories. Oh boy.